What if the idea that sadness is a problem is the belief that's keeping you stuck? When somebody comes to me and they say that they're depressed, the remedy is to find the unhealed place in their heart that is causing it. And here is what I've learned. Depression is always unhealed sadness and grief. And in today's video, you're going to learn about this. I'm going to talk about a mindset shift that will change your relationship to sadness. I'm going to tell you what sadness is and how you can use grief to move it. And I'm going to tell you how to process it all so you feel better. So if you've ever been told that you have depression, there's a 50% chance that they got it wrong. And what they're calling depression might actually be your heart trying to tell you something. So after working with clients for over a decade, it is mind-blowing to me how we all feel bad about feeling sad. We're all walking around feeling guilty for feeling sad. We're apologizing for feeling sad. We cry alone, and we often get judged or even ostracized for not being happy. So sadness gets a really bad rap in our culture. But here's a really healthy fact. Everybody gets sad. And sadness is not a problem. When I first started my private practice, I could see this really clearly, that we were all struggling with being sad and that most of us thought sadness was the problem. Because the cultural message that if you're sad, you're depressed, or if you're sad, you're a failure, is so strong, I felt like I was up against a wall every time I tried to talk about it in a different way. But the evidence is still clear to me that sadness is actually a form of grief that needs to be felt so that you can feel more happiness. And so what that means is we actually need to learn how to feel the sadness in our bodies, because that is your ticket to emotional freedom. And once you do that, you will feel less anxious and less depressed. And I'm going to tell you why and how to do it. So let's start with what is depression. So depression is depressed emotion. Now, what is emotion? Emotion is energy in motion. So sadness is an energy, and grief is sadness moving out. So it's really important that you get this, because when you understand, and I'm going to say it again, that emotion is energy in motion, sadness is energy, and grief is the movement of sadness. When you pull all of that together, you can see how important it is that we actually learn how to feel it, because it's in the feeling of the emotion that we move it. And when you move that energy, it opens you up to feeling joy, to feeling happiness, to feeling your vitality. So the next part, I'm going to show you how we do that. How do we stop this depressing of emotion? There's two things to remember, okay? Thought, the language of the mind, and feelings are the language of the body. And so we have to stop depressing the feelings in the body. But we need the mind shift up here to help us do that. Here is the practice. I'm going to say the words first, but then we're going to do it together, because learning to move emotional energy through your body is experiential. It is helpful to understand the theory of it, but the theory alone doesn't do it. So let's go through the theory first, okay? The first thing you want to do when sadness comes up is you want to allow it. Now, a lot of people don't quite understand. They're like, allow it, what does that mean? It means you want to feel the emotion. So let's say you're feeling sad, and sometimes we might feel sadness in the chest, right? Because it's our heart. And there could be a sensation in there. And we are all conditioned culturally to ignore it, push it away, or judge it, or even feel bad that we have it, right? So this is a 180. You want to go, oh, what's going on here? You don't resist it. Then you want to take your hand and you want to put it on your heart like this. And you want to feel it. Feel your hand on your heart and then feel your heart. Now, in the beginning, that may be difficult because most of us have become disconnected. But don't give up. Just stay with it. And while you're sitting with your hand on your heart and you're feeling it, you can have your eyes opened or you can have your eyes closed. But I want you to say to yourself, and you can say this out loud, you say this: I'm right here with you. And really let that land in your body, right where your hand is on your heart. You say it, I'm right here with you. And you take that pause and you repeat it. Hand on the heart. Feeling the sensation in there. Even if it's just a tiny grain of sand, you want to feel that sensation. And it may not feel good in the beginning. There can be pain because that's your heartbreak, that's your sadness. And when that sadness, when that pain comes in, you feel it and you say, I'm right here with you. And then you pause. And you do this over and over again. And then you stay with it. You breathe into it. Maybe while you're with it, you just take a breath into it. Because sometimes there's an intensity to it, and you got to ride that arc of an emotion. I've talked about that in some other videos. But you want to let the sensation, the discomfort, the sadness, the pain, you want to let it be exactly as it is. Love yourself enough to do this. Because it's not easy. It takes vigilance and it takes courage. But I want to be clear about something. This is not wallowing in your pain. This is not you being dramatic. This is not you trying to get attention, okay? There's nothing wrong with you when you have this sadness and you take the time to sit with yourself. There's something very right with you when you do this. This is you somatically tracking the language of your body, because this is going to start to unlock the stuckness, the depressed part that you've been pushing down. And we want it to loosen so you can really start to listen to the language of your body. And notice how when you say to yourself, I'm right here, it softens a little bit. And when you feel that softness, you just want to lean into it, even if it's just a little bit. Because that's energy in motion. See, that's the grief process when it moves. So the pain comes and the softness comes. And maybe there's tears too. Tears are so healing. Do not stop your tears. We need those tears to help move the energy. And I promise you that when you turn toward it in this way and allow it to move through you and get unstuck, I promise that you will feel lighter, you will feel more free, and you will start to feel more joy and vitality again. So I want to talk for a moment about resistance, because resistance is not the enemy either. We want to allow the resistance just as much as we allow the sadness. because you didn't get to this place of depressing your emotions overnight. There's a habit in there. And you did it because you needed to. Maybe it wasn't safe to feel those emotions at the time. Maybe you didn't have the skills or the ability to do it, or even the willingness. And that's not a judgment. That's just sometimes the way it is. So when we come up against resistance, like, oh, I don't want to do this, or oh, this feels awful, it's good to know that we have these layers of resistance. Let's just say there's 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Underneath those is the sadness. And the sadness is like this big. Like when we finally get through the anger, when we finally get through judging ourselves, when we finally get through all the noise in our head, and then we get down to the actual raw sensation, it's usually very, very small. And I tell you that so that when you recognize it, you'll be like, oh, wow, it's just this little sadness. That's normal. And it loops back to what I was talking about at the beginning, how sadness gets a bad rap. And we haven't learned in this culture how to healthily move sadness and move grief. Instead, we've been told you're too sensitive, you're too emotional. And so with those messages, we've depressed it. And so we have to go through those layers of the way we've depressed it to get to the actual feeling. If you're somebody who wants to take this deeper, right? You want to build your self-awareness more around this, I developed a guide called From Chaos to Clarity, and it's a step-by-step guide on how to take a deeper dive to what is underneath your emotions, what's underneath sadness, what's underneath anxiety. And then I created a video. It's called Anxiety is a Doorway. And in that video, I walk you through that guide step by step. It's really fun. Click the link below, From Chaos to Clarity, and download that guide, and then head over to the video and learn how to go deeper with this work. Thanks, and bye for now.